Welcome everybody to the 18th episode of the Advanced Dungeons and Dynamics 365 Bare Bones Configuration Guide series. So in this series, what we're doing is we're working through the setup of Dynamics 365 from the base up. So we started with a completely blank system, and we're working through. And today on the 18th episode, we're going to be working through the final section of the cache and bank management controls. And I just looked at the content, and it's a little bit lacking today. So rather than just have like a 10-minute session, we're going to jump ahead and set up some bank accounts and also some other components just to pass the time to make this add up to around about 30 minutes or so. So what? So let's just get to this. And I apologize to anyone who is on LinkedIn or that saw the event and then couldn't see the event. That was just a small technical glitch on my part, but it's all up and running right now anyway. So let's get to this. And what we're going to do is I'm going to move over here to my demo box. Let's see. Oh, okay. Let me just fix this up here. And let's share this window. Then let me push my head over to the side. Okay, so today I'm rocking and rolling with, and as people who know me, I'm not really that technical, so this is, I am a little bit, but anyway. So what we're doing is we're working through, and we're inside of the lab environment. And what we did yesterday is we went out, or for me it was yesterday, in the previous episode, what we did is we went into cache and bank management, and we set up our bank transaction types, and along with some Faerûnian bank accounts along the way. And then also we set up the bank account groups. Now we're still going through and we're setting up some of the configuration that we've got here. And if we move over to our guide that we're using, so just to give you an idea. So this is these are the guides that I'm working through that have all of the steps that we're running through. So I'm actually doing what you'd be doing if you were moving through this. Then what we're doing is we're going out and we're setting up cache and bank management. Now we've set up the transaction types. So now what we're going to do is we're going to set up we're going to go into the bank reason codes. So if you've been looking at some of the earlier postings and what we did, or some of the earlier live events, what we did is we have set up reason codes before. We had to set those up for the ledger. But what I said is we were going to have to set up some more reason codes for all of the different modules that we have. And this is another area, which is the bank reason codes that we're managing. So what we want to do, we want to set up some reason codes in the system for like lost payments and non-sufficient funds and errors. And I think those are the main ones that we're going to be setting up here, and just to tidy things up. Now, if I go over to the surface, then what we're going to do is we're going to find the bank reason codes. When we did this before, we went into the reason codes, or the ledger reason codes, maybe it was. And when we came into this area, then we can see the items that we've got here, which are just for the ledger. Now, what we want to do is we want to change this, and we want to search for the bank ledger reason codes. So this is inside the cache and bank management. When we go into the other modules, then we'll see that we go into those as well. These are all shared, but then there's an additional sort of column that says this is a bank reason code, or this is a general ledger reason code within the system. So I can access this through the menu search, my favorite way of accessing things. Or what we can do is we can go into the cache and bank management, and then we can find the bank reasons here as well. So what that will do is that's going to open up our reason codes. And what we're going to do is we're going to create some additional reason codes here. So I'm going to say I want to create another one, and this is going to be address, and this is going to be, or let's do unknown address. So this is going to be unknown address, and it's already been marked as a bank reason code. Then we're going to add another one, which is lost payment. We're going to create one more, which is NSF, non-sufficient funds. And then we also want to have the error option, but we already have a reason code here for the error, so we're just going to mark this here. So now we've got our reason codes added here for the bank transactions that we can go out and use. So if I save this, the interesting thing is that if I go out and look at the ledger reason codes, then now these codes show up: lost payment, non-sufficient fund, unknown address, but they're not selected for this module. So we go out and we pick and choose which code we want to associate with each area. So now that we've done that, what we're going to do is we're going to move on to the next area. And what we're going to do is we're going to set up some of the posting profiles that are going to be required for the cache and bank management. So this is, in a lot of the modules, we've got these posting profiles, and they handle all of the configuration, all of the posting management. And if we don't have these in the system, then it's going to break. We're not going to be able to do any of the, when the system's trying to post something, then it's just not going to work. So this step is an important configuration step that we're going to work through, just to make sure that all of our cache and bank management works. So let's go through and look at how we're going to do that. And what we're going to do is we're going to move to the lab environment, and then we're going to go to the bank. I think it's document posting profiles. So this is a menu area that we want to go into to manage all these posting profiles. And then also, if we go over here, then in the setup, then the posting profiles are actually over here in the setup menu as well. So we can open that up. Now, by default, we don't have any posting profiles set up. So we're just going to set up a global posting profile. And let me delete that. So we already have one here. And then what we're going to do is say, we're going to create like a filtering structure for our posting profiles. So we can set up different rules within the system, one that applies to all bank accounts or all account numbers, one that applies to a group, which would be a bank account group, which we're going to see configured later on in today's session. Then also maybe we just want to have a posting profile for a specific bank or a table item. So that's sort of like the hierarchy that we're managing within this. But I want to set up a global account code. And notice here, the account group isn't allowable. So if I go to the group, then it will show up the group. We don't have any right now because we haven't gone out and configured that, but we can set that up. And then the table will allow us to access the bank. But again, we don't have any bank accounts set up, so it won't allow us to do this. So we're going to say, what is the account that we're settling to? And this should be, so this is going to be posting to accounts payable for the bank settlements. Our charges are going to be charged against the bank service fees. And then rounding, let me see if we've got this set up. Then any rounding or errors that are associated with this are going to be used for the posting. So now what we've done is we've gone out and we've set up these, and every time the system is trying to find these specific accounts, the settlement account, the charges account, the margin account, then it's going to show us these different items along the way. So this is really all we need to do now, because we don't have any bank accounts, we don't have any bank groups yet, so we can't really create any more combinations or permutations of this filtering or of this settlement if we wanted to. So that's some of the configuration that we've done. So that was pretty simple. So it wasn't really that hard to set it up. The hardest part is making sure that you've got the GL accounts that you can go out and post against. So now the final area that we're going to work through is we're going to work through the cash and bank management parameters. So this is the final part of the controls that we're going to be setting up. And what we're doing here is we're going to specify just not a lot of parameters, but just some of the configurations that we need for cash and bank management so that it will work properly. Primarily, what we need is NSF transactions and then a default transaction type within the system. So, and I think that's all that's in there. We'll take a look and see if there's any other items that we need along the way, but let's do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the cash and bank management and into the cash and bank management parameters. So I could have done a search here, and for some reason when I go into the parameters, I just like going through the menu item to go out and access that. So what we're going to do is we've got some information, some things we can't configure yet, like the bank reconciliation. We'll set that up in a later series, and the post number checks and the number sequences we're not too worried about. So all I'm going to do here is I'm going to say what is my transaction type for non-sufficient funds, and that is going to be 10. And then let's see, allow checks from bank accounts. I think that's all we need to do within the system. Now, sometimes we may want to go out and add some other items here. For example, we may want to review the deposit slip before we process items. I remember a long time ago then with a gentleman that I worked with, that was he said, always look at the deposit slips. And if I look at the bank documents, then we aren't going to be using any letters of credit or guarantee for any of this within the system. And then for the bank credit limits, we're not going to go out and set up any warnings based on credit limit tolerances right now. We may later on, but it's not that big of a deal for us now. So I've just gone out and really just made one change here in the configurations. Maybe later on we'll come back and look at some other items on the way. And what that does is that actually finishes the section. So I knew that this was going to be a short section. So what we're going to do is we're going to change gears a little bit, and we're going to jump ahead. Now, I apologize. This is work in progress. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back and we're going to look at, we're going to jump ahead, but we're going to have to use the old documentation. Over the next couple of days, I'm going to complete all of the cash and bank management, but you can see that this is a live process, and this is a live sort of process that we're doing. So what we're going to do is we're going to follow this, and we're going to set up some bank groups. And when we go out and set up the bank groups, we're then going to go out and create bank accounts and configure the bank accounts. Maybe what we'll do is we'll go and create the bank accounts and see how far we get along the way. But we need to start with the bank groups. So if we've got multiple accounts at the same bank, then these banking groups just group them together. So it's pretty simple. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the surface, and what we're going to do is we're going to find, we're going to go back to, let me just start fresh in the system. And what we're going to do is we're going to look for the bank groups. So here we've got the bank groups, and also we've got the bank accounts, which we're going to see in just a second. And I can go out and I can access these directly here through the menu item as well, and access them. So there's actually, I don't know what the facility groups are. I just sort of had a squirrel moment and then went out to the bank groups. So what we're going to do is now what we want to do is we want to set up our bank groups and also specify what the routing number is for that bank group. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to start and create a new bank group. Now, the first one we're going to create is the Waterdeep Community Bank. So we're going to give it a bank group name, and we're going to give it a routing number. So that's it's a 9-digit number that is at the beginning of the checking account. And this is going to be the Waterdeep Community Bank. And what we're going to do is we're going to accept that processing. So now what we can do is we can also, if we want to, we can add an address for this. I'm going to actually do this, and I don't have an address, so I'm just going to use ChatGPT for this. And let's create this on the fly. So let me just configure this, and you can see how we're going here. So I'm going to change this and pull up ChatGPT. And the reason why I like doing this is what it allows me to do is I don't have to think about creating data along the way. So I'm going to say, what is the main address, corporate address for the community? So let's see where that pops it. So blah, blah, blah. It's in the Sword Coast. It's the Traders Bank. Let me say it's not being very, very cooperative here. Okay. So it's in Waterdeep, and we've got a zip code that's here associated with it. And we've got the region. So let's go back to the surface and say, I want to add a new address. And then this is going to be Waterdeep Community Bank. It's in Faerûn, and the zip code and postal code is going to be 01 Waterdeep. So this is in Waterdeep. And then this is, let's see, this is Gold Coin Square. And then the district is going to be the High Street district, but we don't have that. So let's make this in the Trades Ward. So now what we've got is we've got an address that's associated with this. This should go out and should be associated with all of the banks that we create. Now the standard dollar for this is the Faerûn standard dollar. We don't have a SWIFT code associated with this or a bank account, and we're not going to set up any contact information just yet. Right, let's say let's go out and just finish this off. So we might as well create some data along the way as we're sort of moving through. Okay, so Elena Greenbottle. So let's select her. I'm making an assumption that it's a her, and then we've got a phone number that's associated with it, and it's that's for Waterdeep. And we've got some other information that's associated with it. So if I return back to the surface, then what I've done is I've specified Alina's information. I don't have her email address associated with it. I don't have her SMS or her mirror ID that we're associating with. So now I can just go out and save this. So as you can see, we can start building out more information along the way. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a couple more banks. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new one. And this is going to have a different routing number. All the banks groups have to have a different routing number associated with them. And this one is going to be Minicoin Bank Lender. So now we've got a second bank, and then let me see if I've got, okay, I've got Minicoin. And also what we're going to do is we're going to create another one, which is going to be the Bank of Faerûn. The routing number for this is going to be the third number. So I'm going to say the Bank of Faerûn here. So we can go out and we can flesh all of this information out and add more and more information along the way, and improve this content, and also add more contact information. We could add more details associated with the bank accounts. So what we're going to do is we're going to stop here because we're coming up on the 25-minute mark, and this is. What we've done is we've gone out and we've configured, we've finished configuring the cash and bank management, and because we had a little bit of extra time, we went out and we started creating some of the bank groups that are associated with this. So in the next episode, what we're going to do is we're going to finish off the banks. We're going to create the banks, and then we're going to configure really anything that's associated with the bank and link it up to the GL accounts that we may have, and finish off this process. So this is really the end of today's session. Just as a reminder, if you all want to go out and do this, then you can go out and you can use the guides that we're creating, and as you see that we're upgrading from the earlier version up to a nicer version that's easier, a little bit easier to follow, and has a little bit more context associated with it. And you can go out and you can create your own environments on your own system. So you could go out to LCS right now and you could go out and build a blank or download the Dynamics 365 virtual machine, and you can actually run it locally at no cost. And then also what you can do is, if you don't want to have that, or if you have trouble getting onto Lifecycle Services, then we've got a handful, like 10 lab environments that we can loan out to people, so that you can go through all of these yourself in the same environment that we're working through. So if you have any questions on that, then just call us. If you want to access any of the details or any of these guides, then just go to adnd365.com/start, and then that will take you directly to the landing page where we're adding all of the updated documentation, and then you can also find all the prior documentation, which just has the old format that's associated with it. So with that, what we're going to do is we're going to close off today. we're going to finish this session and watch out for episode 19, where we're going to finish off the cash and bank management, or the bank account management, and that should allow us to do some more clever things and then move on to like bank reconciliation and some other things in the system. So with that said, what we'll do is I'll close off and have a great rest of your day, and we'll catch you on episode 19.